What's up, Heather? I'm going to quickly address some of the things that you said in chapters 1 through 5. In your last vlog, you talked about video games and Harry Potter and how it's kind of jarring to think about video games and Harry Potter, which I agree with. I guess it feels like such a fantastical world that video games feel a little mundane, I think. But yeah, of course boys would want to play, girls would want to play, people would want to play video games. I'm sure there's other types of games there. They have Quidditch, they have sports. So makes sense for video games to be in there too. Also, spiders are totally ick for me, so reading about spiders and just spiderish things, for whatever reason, we've had to deal with a lot of spiders lately. I don't know if it's like spider season or just the fact that we've now started unpacking a lot of the boxes that we had in warehouses, so I don't know if they were hiding out this whole time or what the deal is, but occasionally I'll find like baby spiders in my bed, which is the worst. And like, because you know there's a bigger spider somewhere hiding, and I just like and I'm allergic to any kind of like bite, whether it's a mosquito and spiders do bite. I hate when people tell me spiders don't. Like, spiders fucking bite. So Dudley is definitely spoiled, but I don't think he's sassy like Honey Boo Boo. But like you, I haven't watched it either. I've only like seen interviews and maybe some clips here and there, maybe some memes. I haven't actually watched the show, but I would assume there's more sass in it than Dudley can handle. In regards to Harry having his clothes dyed, having like Dudley hand-me-downs that have been dyed, I don't think I could ever dye my clothes. Like, I'm sure I must have a pair of black pants or something that maybe got like sun stained or, you know, that would benefit from being dyed again, but I'm so afraid that I have like no idea what I'm doing and that it will bleed everywhere onto all my other clothes that I just don't think I'm daring enough to try to dye my own clothes. Also, here's a list of things I like to keep out of my pockets. Fieldmice. Period. So in chapter 6, the Dursleys drop off Harry at the train station, and he's heading to Hogwarts, and they're kind of snickering and sneering and just kind of making fun of him, like, find platform 9 3/4, her. So that's where he bumps into the Weasleys, and there was a scene where it's the twins and Mrs. Weasley that I felt like was so relatable because I'm dealing with a teenage boy right now, and it just seemed like such a teenage boy thing to do. What's funny is that I kind of didn't remember if this was true as it was happening or not, but one of the twins is going and she says, okay, Fred, you know, go ahead. And he says, Fred, I'm George. Jesus, woman, you're supposed to be our mother. How do you not know who we are? How can you not tell us apart? And because of her response, it felt like just, I get it. Like, I get it in my heart. She was just basically, oh, sorry, George, dear. And then he was like, just kidding, I am Fred, blah, 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 blah. And so the reason this is so funny to me is because I feel like as a mom dealing with a teenager, you have to pick and choose your battles. You can't fight every single time. And they are just so pushing the envelope and can be so combative. And everything is like a back and forth. And I don't have time. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't have time for that shit all the time. And most moms don't. So we kind of get to a point where we're just like, okay, I'll play the game. You want to play the game? Oh, I'm so sorry I confused you. Like, because if she had said, I know who you are, like, it just would have been more back and forth. And she just surrendered. She was like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's okay. And he was like, gotcha. And then they kept moving on. So eventually Harry gets on the train. He's making friends with Ron. They're eating chocolate frogs, and Harry gets the Dumbledore card. And the illustration for Dumbledore was so beautiful. I thought it was very colorful. But one thing that I found really interesting was that there's like there's knitting needles on the table in the image with Dumbledore. So does everybody at Hogwarts crochet? Or is it like, was it Hagrid? Did Hagrid put it down to take the picture? Like, what's the deal with the knitting needles? Whoops, I totally meant to say knitting. You knit with knitting needles. You crochet with crochet needles. So knitting. They must knit. What's also awesome about the illustration is that we get to see Dumbledore eating his favorite lemon drop candy, or whatever the hell it's called, which I think was mentioned in the beginning, and he offers it to Minerva. So I love this image. I think it's gorgeous. Okay, I went back to make sure I wasn't making that up, and it's called a sherbet lemon. It's a muggle sweet that he's very fond of. Also on the train they meet Hermione, and you know, Ron is just already kind of annoyed by her and he doesn't want to be in the same house as her. But she tells Harry like all the different textbooks that he showed up in. Can you imagine? Can you imagine living your whole life and then just later finding out that you're in all these magical textbooks? And of course, the moment that set in stone my hatred for Malfoy, where he's like, well, Harry, you need to figure out who you should be hanging out with because some families, you know, you're just not worth it, or whatever it is that he says exactly that's just like, wow, you're such a douche. So chapter 7 is where they get sorted into their houses, and it was kind of funny listening to Ron and Harry think about, you know, what it was, what kind of test they were going to have to do in order to get sorted into their house. And Harry thought they were going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat. But it makes sense that, you know, maybe he thought the test was performing some kind of magic spell or trick. I don't remember if they ever explain why there's so many ghosts or poltergeists or whatever at Hogwarts. I don't know how comfortable I would be with that. I mean, we're talking about a fantasy world, but that would be kind of creepy. I don't know. Especially since they seem to get such a kick out of like scaring the crap out of people and kind of playing jokes on them and just catching them off guard. I don't know. I just don't think I want ghosts in my life like that. I don't think we need to have an intimate relationship. I don't know. I don't remember if this happened in the movies, but I guess Dumbledore decides to say a few words like nitwit and blubber and oddment and tweak. What the hell is that all about? And does that carry through the whole series? Because I don't remember him being quirky to that extent. Like, I don't remember people questioning his sanity. Did I like totally forget that? Something they mention a lot of in this chapter is about all the different types of foods and desserts that are available. Does no one gain weight like at Hogwarts? That's a lot of food, a lot of very heavy, fattening, sugary food to provide to everyone. Like, I mean, it sounds delicious, but I don't know. I just recently ate at this new restaurant like by my school, which is called Aruga's. And I think it's supposed to be like Aruga. Anyway, so we were eating there for the first time and we tried a couple of different things, you know, mozzarella sticks, we kind of had a sampler, but the one thing that we couldn't get away from was just how salty all of the food was. And like, I guess after a while, when you start eating whole foods and stuff, your taste kind of changed. So just thinking about all that sugary donut, cupcake, cookies, just like, So in chapter 8, the Potions Master, they're talking all about the different classes that Harry was going through within, you know, the beginning of his time at Hogwarts, and how Mrs. Norris would kind of get a sense of things going on that were off, and she would go and run and she would go get Filch, and Filch would come back to get students in trouble. And it talks about how students wanted to kick her, and that's so mean. I mean, I get it, she was ratting people out, but don't kick the cat. In Potions class, Harry's kind of facing off with Snape, and he ends up taking away 2 points from Gryffindor, which makes Harry look pretty bad. And of course he's wondering why the hell Snape hates him so much. So I assume that the illustration on page 110 is a picture of Snape, an illustration of Snape, but he kind of looks more like Filch to me there. I don't know, I guess I have Alan Rickman just stuck in my head that it doesn't compare, but it's still beautiful. I love the colors, and I love like all the jars of things in the background. It's very pretty. So in chapter 9, the Midnight Duel, they're all getting their lessons in riding a broom, and of course the whole thing with the Remember All happens, and Professor McGonagall sees Harry kind of whipping around on his broom, and she takes him to go see Wood, and she says, oh, can I have wood, or can I borrow wood for a moment, or she says something along those lines, and he actually thought she was gonna beat him with a cane for what he was doing on the broom. He thought he was gonna get punished, and she was like asking for a wood cane. That's terrible. The whole time I'm reading this chapter, I'm like, Midnight Duel? I don't remember a Midnight Duel. When the hell did they duel? As a first year, they barely knew magic. Like, apparently Malfoy was just trying to get him in trouble, which is really super shitty. But they did stumble upon, Fluffy? Is his name Fluffy? Apparently my memory is not as crappy as I thought, so it is Fluffy, the Cerberus three-headed dog thing that they come across as they're like trying to escape Filch. Chapter 10 is Halloween, and Harry just got his Nimbus 2000 from Professor McGonagall, and they're talking to Hermione, which, you know, she's still upset about what happened the night before, and they're super mean to her. And I know she was kind of like snooty and a know-it-all, but like they just don't want her around at all. I don't even remember like when they finally just decided, okay, she's our friend now, but she's dealing with a lot. It's kind of shitty. And of course our favorite part, it's Wingardium Leviosa, not Wingardium Leviosa. Okay, so funny, I'm talking about when they finally became friends, and it's after fighting a troll. That's when they finally became friends. And I do want to quote what is listed here because I think it's pretty funny. And so the book says, from that moment on, Hermione Granger became their friend. There are some things you can't share without ending up liking each other, and knocking out a 12-foot mountain troll is one of them. There is an illustrated spread in the book, which is like Newt Scamander's Guide to Trolls, and it's pretty cool. It has a different type of trolls. It shows what kind of bugs live on, around, and eat troll earwax. And then there's also a little diagram of like the troll brain, and it says, you know, this percentage is about food, and this percentage, you know, thinks about kittens, and this percentage is always expecting it to be Tuesday. What? Well, anyway, that's what I got for chapters 6 through 10. In the next vlog, we'll be doing, I guess the rest of the chapters, 11 through 17? Or are we going to do 11 through 15? Or, I don't know. You can reach out to me on Voxer and let me know what we'll be reading next. For anyone still watching this, wow, you're a trooper. So while you're still here, might as well like this video and be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.